Tara agreed with me that I should come. She said my destiny is in Republic City.
Don't bring my mother into this.
Flexibility, core, explosive, balance. In today's video, we're going to see how airbending is similar to balance training in the world of fitness. Love it or not, Locke, Legend of Korra, not only provides physical examples of balance training, but also gives figurative examples of how balance training can impact us no matter what avenue of fitness we're in. So first off, let's just have a brief definition of what do we mean by balance. In the world of fitness, balance is the ability to control your body's position to remain stable and upright, whether you are still, static, or moving dynamic. This involves the complex coordination of your nervous system and your ears, eyes, and muscles to maintain your center of gravity over your base of support. Some examples of balance exercise can include traditional single leg movements or unilateral movements like a single leg RDL or a single arm shoulder press. Additionally, it can be lunges, step-ups, ab exercises, and technically any type of movement that requires you to stay stable. Anything from a plank to a deadlift. So why is this important? Lesson 1 that we learned from Korra is proprioception. So this is another fun time for me to geek out, so I apologize in advance. So if Peter has a spider sense, we have proprioception. Ever try closing your eyes, walking, but sensing there's something there? Well, proprioception is the body's sense of its own position, movement, and orientation in space without relying on vision. It's a sixth sense, so to speak, that comes from receptors in our muscles, tendons, and joints, and it's essential for coordinated movement, balance, and posture. Example, close your eyes, try touching your nose. Or try throwing a ball without looking at your arm the entire time. This is actually one of the reasons why Tenzin shaved his head, literally. So Tenzin is bald in Legend of Korra because shaving his head allows him to better feel the air on his skin, which is a form of a sense for airbenders. This heightened sensitivity allows him to detect subtle changes in the wind and air currents, similar to how earthbenders use a seismic sense to feel vibrations in the ground. This allows him to better predict his opponent's movements, detect threats, and even sense danger through a tingling sensation, Peter tingle, on his bald head. Just like Aang, Korra, and Tenzin move with swift precision as if they can sense everything around them, proprioception allows us to thrive in fitness. For example, it can help boost athletic performance, prevent injuries, and it even comes in handy when correcting form and technique. Ultimately, this helps our bodies adapt to whatever circumstance we find ourselves in. And speaking of adapting, lesson 2, adaptability. So, flashback to my college days where I made a whole video about this. I know this, but when we exercise and when we work out, we actually stress out our body. I don't like this video. It's mad. The quality's pretty bad. If you have pity on me, you can check it out, but I'll give you the Clip Notes version. So balance training will often make your body adapt to new and challenging positions and exercises. And this is similar to what I learned in my NASM student days called GAS, General Adaptation Syndrome. When you work out for the first time, how do your muscles feel? Pretty sore and tense because you just encountered a physical stressor, or phase 1, alarm. After a couple weeks of going to the gym, eventually the soreness starts to go away and that 95 bench press starts to feel like light work, which is phase 2, the resistance phase. Basically, the workouts are getting easier. Ultimately, it goes up to when you think you can handle the 135-pound bench press, which is 45 pounds on each side. The overconfidence makes you think it's easy until you go to attempt it, and as soon as you lift it up, your arm starts shaking like a chihuahua, and it feels like a baby heffalump is on your chest. Phase 3, you're exhausted, the final part of the phase. You want to switch between phases 1 and 2 as it allows you to continue to gain strength and progressively overload, thus you adapt and become the leaf. So Korra has to learn how to adapt in a variety of circumstances and situations, thus causing her to go through alarm, resistance, and exhaustion. Everything from adapting to a new city, to a new element, a new enemy, she learns to adjust to a new way of living, pro-bending, love triangles. We'll get into that in the future, but conspiracies, kidnapping, and fear. That's exhausting. So it's not a surprise when it feels like she's hitting a series of plateaus in the show. But that takes us to that third part. The exhausting phase of gas will show you your weak points and where you plateau. And that takes us nicely to lesson 3. So just for me as a general fan of Avatar and Legend of Korra, yes, I like Korra. Attack me in the comment sections. But so season 1 finale or the end game episode, there's one part that just always bugged me. Even as a kid, it kind of just didn't make sense to me. It's the fact that Korra didn't really airbend until her bending of water, earth, and fire were taken away. So at first you can kind of just like think it's lazy writing, which I'm very much guilty of. However, after reading the Avatar Wiki and some passionate comments of fans, you kind of learn that there's more to it than just conveniently defeating the enemy, which initially I thought. So sometimes less is more, and it's the case when it came to Korra airbending. She had never unlocked airbending, or airbending had never been awakened for her. So as far as Amun or anyone else knew, she could only bend those 3 elements. So when you take away all of her elements, the only thing she's forced to use or unlock as a survival mechanism is air. That being said, you're totally free to either enjoy this or hate this plot in the show. But I do like this principle of sometimes less is more when it comes to plateaus. Sometimes in the real world, it takes unusual ways to break through a bending plateau, or in this case, a plateau in fitness. For example, want to gain strength, but it feels like your joints are rust. You might want to try taking a deload or going through a deload phase, especially if you're an experienced lifter. You would keep the weight the same, so to speak, but instead of doing 3 sets or 4 sets, you would just do 1 set. Maintain the neurological strength, but also give your tendons and your joints a break. Want to try to lose weight, but you stall for months? Actually do something counterintuitive. Eat at maintenance calories, don't go to the gym for a week, and then see what happens. Want to run at a faster pace? Instead of trying to sprint until you're out of breath, you might want to actually start out with a slower pace. Increase your cadence, or basically the number of steps you're getting per minute. And this may make you think you're running slower, but over time you'll see the miles and endurance increase and get easier. That kind of takes me to like the after school special of this video. So for me, I feel like balance training is like the unsung hero among all facets of fitness. You can't even tie your workout shoes without balance, nor pick up a dumbbell with bad balance. So just like how airbending came in clutch a couple times throughout season 1, whether it was core pro bending, learning a certain principle to apply when fighting an enemy, I just feel like balance is something that's kind of overlooked but very important. And you don't have to spend like hours balance training. You can include like a unilateral exercise or a single leg movement, and you can just sprinkle them out in a couple of your workouts. You could just have 1 or 2 exercises in your overall routine that can help you in small but pretty important ways. So that's the concluding episode of this whole Avatar bending series. And when you apply each of the principles in these episodes, figuratively speaking, you start to master them, and you become like, you know, that screams I'm a geek, but hey, I love fitness and fandom, so here we are. So I'm kind of avatared out, but you know, if you want to keep talking about it, just let me know in the comments, because while I'm avatared out, I can still keep yapping about it as long as I got some like sources and information and whatnot in fitness. So as I would say for this whole series and for all these videos, as you know, and my new outro going forward, just remember, this is a personal trainer geeking out over a fandom. Take everything I say as a gram of protein. And with that being said, remember to stay mentally fit, emotionally fit, and physically fit. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.
You're the only ones who are gonna need a hospital. And for your sake, I hope there's one nearby.
Who do you think you are?
Why don't you come and find out?